What's good, everybody? Messiah 122 here, coming to bring you a little video that I've been wanting to do for a little bit. So pretty much this video is just going to be a tutorial on pretty much what you're looking for in a witch doctor. The stat rolls that you really want, and just good stuff in general. There's a couple different ways to play the witch doctor, and it really just depends on your playstyle. If you want to play grouped, you want to play what's called the Dagger of Darts build, and that build is essentially the group build. I'll show you a Dagger of Darts really quick, just because I haven't pulled it out yet. We got one right here. I'll just pull both those out. So Dagger of Darts is this. This is a decent rolled Dagger of Darts right here. Pretty much your poison darts and fetishes, poison darts now pierce. So both of those piercing actually is a really big deal. It does a lot of damage. It's great for groups. Then the other build is the Firewall build, and essentially that build is solo play simply for the fact that it lags out really bad. Everybody's calling it the Lag Doctor build. It really lags out and it crashes the game, and really it's hard to play. But that is the other thing. And then if you were doing, there's two ways to play the Lag Doctor, if you want to call it that. One weapon that you can use is a Suwong Diviner, which is a pretty good weapon. This isn't a bad one, but it's not the greatest. It's got Acid Cloud, gains the effect of Lob Bomb Rune, and that's good. I mean, that ancient roll is decent, like I said. The only bummer that we have there is the Acid Cloud is very low, but the core that you're looking for to even get the build going, you can do it without that weapon. The core that you're looking for is the Helltooth set. Helltooth is very needed, and I'll go over a couple of my Helltooth pieces just so you can see what it is that you're looking for. So here we have the helmet, and this is an ancient one. This is some low rolls out of ancient, but it's still a decent one. So we got 864 intelligence, 863 vitality, 6 crit. That's perfect right there for stat wise. You want health, main stat, crit chance, bam, good to go. Armor, once again, not the greatest, still good though. It would have been a lot better if we had rolled the vitality like that. It was just based like that, and we could have rolled for elite damage, so taking that armor off and put on the elite damage. We didn't get that opportunity to do so that's still a really good piece. And then the shoulders, these are really good ones. I love this roll. So we got the stats we're really looking for. So you want on your shoulders, you really want intelligence, vitality, reduce cooldown, and increased wall of death damage. That is like cookie cutter right there. That is like the best setup right there for shoulders. Not the best rolls, clearly, but main stats right there. That's what you're looking for. Gloves, people vary. It depends really what build you're playing. People say you really want attack speed. Other people say you really want vitality. Me personally, doesn't matter the build that I play. I want vitality. That's a really good roll. You want intelligence, vitality, crit chance, crit damage. Bam. That's it. Cookie cutter. Great rolls right there. Pants, you really want to do a high. You want intelligence, vitality, and armor, or all res, depending. Usually it's armor. Obviously we took regen here. We left it because the roll on these was really bad for intelligence, and I decided to re-roll it. Kind of regretting that a little bit now, but it's alright. We'll find different ones later on. Boots are the only thing we don't have ancient, but these are still really great ones. We got 480 intelligence, 498 vitality. We're trying to get armor roll right there because you want armor, and you got increased acid cloud damage. That's great right there. You want those stats. And like I said on pants, regen would be armor. You want as much armor as you can possibly get. So that's it right there for Helltooth. Essentially the other items would be you need these bracers. Jerem's are like must have, and especially when doing fire build, you want fire damage on there no matter what. See, if you look at this, we have 4.5 crit. People are gonna be like, ew, that's low. And yes, it is low, but that fire damage is a must have. Intelligence, vitality, and crit damage are must have, and you always want 80% plus wall of death damage. And that's it. I mean, That's not the best set right there, but they're really good. Uh, Amulet, you want a Hellfire for sure. Fifth passive is very needed, must have. This isn't the best one. This is a decent one, but we got 702 intelligence, 91 crit damage, 80 or 8.5 crit chance, and Spirit Vessel. That's very important. Spirit Vessel, Swampland, Entombment, Grave Injustice, Gruesome Feast, or Confidence Ritual on your Hellfire is needed. That's it right there. You need that. You have to have that like that, or it just isn't the greatest roll. So belt, you want a Belt of Transcendence. That's another must-have for this build, simply for the fact that its legendary stat is Summon a Fetish Sycophant when you hit with a Mana Spender. That does so much. I think it maxes out at 15 Sycophants, and the damage not only is great, but they pull so many mobs for you, and they can kind of keep damage away from you, and it's a really great item to have. Rings, you want to focus and restraint. You want, main stat, crit chance, crit damage. Great setup. Once again, you got main stat, crit chance, crit damage. The must-have right there again. Weapon. I'm using a Scrimshaw in this setup, and on a Scrimshaw you want 10% damage, you want intelligence, vitality, and an attack speed roll if you can get one in there. If not, obviously I had to roll my zombie charger damage because it loaded the lowest possible, but it's still not that bad, but it could be better. You want a Henry. Obviously you would be looking for an ancient one, which would be better. You're looking for average damage, intelligence, vitality, crit damage, and zombie charger is alright, but you probably want Wall of Fire. And if it doesn't roll that, then whatever really, I would say probably armor or life percent, but that's just my opinion. So that's the gear covered. With the gear being covered, we can go ahead and cover the build. Well, actually, no, we should actually cover the gems. Gems, you want an Asteric Alteration. That's just a cookie cutter gem right there. You have to have that. It's ridiculous. The amount of physical and other resistances you build off that is nuts. It's a must-have. I mean, really, you can't top that. You want Bane of the Trapped. Increase damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by 30.60, only clearly because mine is level 52, and then gain an aura that reduces the movement speed enemies within 15 yards by 30%. And then for the last gem, you have more than one option. It just depends on your playstyle and how you're doing gear-wise. But I'm not using this one, but you could currently be using Molten Wild Beast Gizzard, and I'm using that for the defense. That is a massive defense gain right there. I'm trying to push higher greater rifts, so it's a big drop on timer for damage against elites and damage against the rift boss, but elites really doesn't matter, especially when you're pushing 55 above, because you're usually skipping the elites. You're not killing them. They're not a big deal. You just really want big packs, and we'll talk more about that later. We'll check that out. But yeah, so you either can use that, and that is, like I said, a huge defense gain, or you can go down here and use Bane of the Stricken, and this, pretty much the higher you rank it, the better it gets. Same thing with any gem, but this thing is ridiculous because you gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. That alone kills the timer right there for you on Rift Guardians. It just makes it nuts. Now, one thing I am going to say about gems, though, make sure you get those suckers to 25 as fast as possible. It shouldn't be too hard to do. You want those. Obviously, those are just a core item you must have. Build. Let's check out the build. So, I use a Razer Naga, and if you don't know what that is one of Razer Gaming's equipment's mouse, and it has 1 through 12 keys on the side of it, so I don't essentially need my keyboard, and I highly recommend getting this because everything I want is all bound to my mouse. Everything. My map, my inventory, health potion. I never need my keyboard. It's all right there. at my wrist and my thumb. So anyways, with the build though, my left click would be corpse spiders with blazing spiders. You pretty much just cast that out to pull as many mobs towards you as you can, and it also helps build mana. My right click is zombie charger with zombie bears. That is one of your main damage dealers right there, especially with the scrimshaw. But if you weren't using a scrimshaw, that would be acid cloud, and with slow burn rune. And for one, we're using spirit walk jaunt, and I use this as a defense item, essentially when coming towards either a really big pack that I know I'm not going to be able to kill, or just like lasers, arcane, frozen. It's a good thing to hit, to move and get out of the way. For my 2, we've got Soul Harvest with Languish. This thing is a great item for defense. Once again, it helps you gain life, you gain armor, and I use this when I have a big group around me, and I cast this and it sucks up a lot of armor. We gain a lot of defense, especially if we have elites around us and we're just trying to kill trash mobs. It's great to use, and I spam it quite often. Our number 3 is Piranhas with Piranha Nado. This is kind of I don't know, a lot of people say it's kind of useless, a lot of people say they use it. I use it essentially because in big packs, I love to pull them all together, and I use a Scoundrel too because he helps pull them, but I won't recommend using a Scoundrel. I recommend using the Templar, certainly, because he debuffs things for you and makes things a lot better. But anyways, with this setup, you can pull all these enemies together and it's dealing damage. You just have a huge group, you just throw your fire on the ground and it kicks butt. Wall of Fire, or Wall of Death, I should say, with Firewall rune is your main damage dealer. That's why I said you need the fire damage on your bracers, you need the fire damage on your amulet. And I don't know for sure if I covered that, but instead of intelligence on your amulet, unless the amulet is ancient, you want fire damage. It doesn't matter. You want fire damage, crit chance, crit damage, socket, and one of the decent passives on there, and I named them, and I can name them again: Swampland Attunement, Graven Justice, Gruesome Feast, Confidence Ritual, and what is that? Why can't I think of it? No, my brain. A Spirit Vessel. There we go. Sorry. So that is like must have right there. Now, one thing that a lot of people I know are going to ask in the comments is, what if you don't have a Henry and you have a Scrimshaw? Now, I would recommend the first Henry you get, you use, and if you don't have a Scrimshaw and you have a Henry, use a Suwong if you have one, and run the Acid Cloud build. And if, man, it's hard to say, because I mean, I would not bother doing the Scrimshaw build without a Henry, even if it was just Scrimshaw and something else. Just no, you must have a Henry. It doesn't matter if you have it in the cube. Don't run it in the cube. If you have a Suwong though, and you have more than one Henry and you want to use the Henry in the cube, you can. But on again with the build, we're going a weird way. So this is why we have Gruesome Feast. The more health potions we get, the more damage we get, and that is for the fact that we are using a Selenium. Critical hits have a 4% chance to spawn a health glove. The more that we spawn the health globes, the better we get. We get more potions, we get more damage. Around my build, I get around 2.4 million DPS, which does a lot in the higher rifts. Obviously, if you don't want to use that, you could swap it out for something like a Furnace, or anything that you really need. Even Suwong, if you don't want to use a Suwong. I don't recommend it, but that's what you could do. For armor, you must have a Grin Reaper. That is just a must-have, simply for the fact that chance when attacking to summon horrific mimics that cast some of your equipped skills. That right there is nuts. It does so much damage, it's overpowered. That is a must-have. And Ring Convention of Elements is a must-have too, simply for the 50% damage gain that you get. It is... You just have to have it. If it wasn't 50%, I would say use Dual Unity, but since it is 50%, don't do Dual Unity. If you can't get all of the Helltooth set and you still want to mess around with the build, I would say switch this out for a Ring of Royal Grandeur if you can use it. but a convention of elements is a must. You have to have that. It just does way too much damage to not have it. So now that we've got that all covered, let's go over Paragon points. Paragon points, I'm kind of like iffy on it, but movement speed, I just max mine out. 25% is a must-have, and then I kind of just jump back and forth between vitality and intelligence as I go along. And then this, you want to max out. Well, I didn't exactly max one out before the other. I kind of just evenly played it through on crit chance, crit damage, like I did with intelligence and vitality. After you get that, obviously you max out attack speed. After attack speed, cooldown reduction. First one I did obviously was resist all. Then we went to life percent, and then now we're working on armor. Here, I'd skip area damage if you're playing in groups, and if you're doing 60 plus, area damage causes a lot of lag, causes the game to crash itself, and I don't have any points in it simply for that fact. That's why I have gold find. So when you watch this, don't laugh at me for the gold find, because I don't want to lag out. So, but yeah, so I would reduce resource cost reduction and life on hit, and that was it for those. So now that that's all covered, you know, we're gonna go ahead and goof around right here, and we'll start up a Greater Rift, and I'll show you pretty much what it is to do to play. And like I said, it depends on your build, but I always just kind of jump in my Rift and I just throw spiders around, all around. Piranha NATO, and then I fire, and then I cast bears, which is my right click. Once again, we'll just kind of run around, look for a big group. I really don't think you should stop and kill 2-3 enemies like this. I mean, if you feel like you should, but I don't. So here again, we have Piranha NATO, Firewall, Zombie Bears. That's it right there. I mean, that's all you can do. Always make sure you're against the wall when doing it. And by against the wall, I mean like back against the wall when you're doing Zombie Bears, because then they're going in a straight line and casting more. They're not one or two Zombie Bears, it's all of them. They're all coming out. The damage is way better and it benefits you better. So obviously it'd be different if you had Suwong. You'd be gathering in groups with Piranha NATO and casting Acid Rain with Firewall underneath them. Firewall must always be cast out. Make sure that you're always casting that. And another thing to really look at is the focus and restraint. Make sure that both of the buffs are up. You want them up always, and to keep one up, you need to cast Corpse Fighters. Keep the other one up, you need to cast like Zombie Bears, and you have to have both of them up, because that is a huge damage increase right there. If you don't have them both up, you are losing out on a lot of damage. So, and once again, don't stumble upon, don't stumble there and look at elites. Run off. Skip them. Elites, especially 55 plus, get so ridiculous that it is pretty much pointless to kill. And in my opinion, I wouldn't bother fighting any, because the amount of time it takes to kill them out of the amount of reward you get is not worth it. If you could kill them really quick, then I'd say go for it, but if you can't, don't. I saw a good pair of gloves that I wanted to show really quick right here. Now, these aren't the greatest, but obviously people are going to look at that attack speed and that crit chance, and you can re-roll that reduce all resource cost for crit damage, or you could re-roll that attack speed for vitality. That's, well, no, you can't actually. Sorry, never mind. You would want crit damage, no vitality. But that's what I'm always looking for in gloves, is vitality. If you have any more comments, make sure to pop those down in the bottom of the channel, and I'll make sure to answer them. Make sure to check out the stream, 9 p.m. Pacific time every day. Usually, if there's not a stream, there's usually a title that says why, or a video that will. So